Fran, welcome.
Mark, thank you.
To Business Insight. After, I don't know what took us so long to meet. Hi Dave, welcome.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you. We are keen to talk about setting up a business in 2012. You planned it from 2011. It is a travel business,
Yes.
catering for...
Particularly for runners who want to run marathons and distance events all around the world. Plus we have a lifestyle component because we've done so much travel ourselves and had so many wonderful experiences. We think it's time to share it.
That's cool. Okay, let's talk about setting up the business. What would you have done differently if you had the opportunity?
I would have done it many years ago.
Is that right? Just done it sooner?
That's the only difference I would have made.
Yeah. And we might come back to that thought. Coming off the back of your recent rise to, I guess, management status for the Marathon Association of the world, David, how does that stitch in with what you guys are doing with the travel?
My position with the Association of International Marathons has allowed both of us to travel extensively in the last 15 years. So we've had an opportunity to go to all sorts of places around the world, always associated with an event of some sort. We've had some marvellous experiences as we do this, and as Fran said, her only regret is that we didn't start this travel business earlier.
Okay. Now, in terms of business planning, are you the planner?
For this particular business, yes, I was.
Okay. And we talked a little more about, or a little off air, about the research that you did. How did you get the research together in terms of developing a strategy for this?
Well, we had our own business. We've had our own sports management business for many years. So in terms of the business and the business plan and the operations itself, we had most of that in place. I guess the thing I needed to study was, even though I'd been doing a lot of our travel planning ourselves, what do you need to set up a travel business? How do you go about it? What are the legal requirements? What are your insurance requirements? What licensing requirements? So it was all those things that you need to pull together to be able to start a travel agency.
And do you need to be an accredited travel agent to do all that?
Somebody needs to be licensed.
Right.
If you're selling international travel, you need to have a licence. So it's either that or you go and work for a travel agent, and I don't think they'd give me enough time off to go travelling all the time. I wouldn't be a very good investment for them.
Yeah. So in terms of targets, you have specific numbers that you want to move around the globe, I guess, do you, for the first 12 months?
Yeah, we do, and we've really taken a pretty measured approach to that. We need to have numbers, or look at numbers that we can actually manage ourselves. And it's one thing that we've thought about with our previous business is, what do we want to do? And the answer to that was, no more than 2 people can possibly humanly achieve. This might be a little bit different, but slowly to start off with. We know the popularity of different marathons around the world, and we know the numbers of Australians that travel to them. So with that in mind, we've just tried to keep it achievable.
So, and how are you marketing it?
Through direct marketing.
What's that mean?
We have a very comprehensive database of people who run and people who travel to these events around the world. And also through advertising, through Runners World, again, marketing to runners clubs, going directly to them.
Runners clubs, like any sports group, tend to be fairly lean on the dollars, don't they? They don't spend a lot of money in 4-star or 5-star hotels. They love just spending their time running and sweating. Is that true?
There's nothing true that could be said about marathon runners per se.
So how will you get money out of them? Don't they want to book online and do it all themselves?
You can't book a lot of these online.
Right.
There are some races. In fact, there's many races around the world where you can, and you just put in an online entry. But we find that a lot of people don't want to take that extra step of, okay, so I'm going to Ecuador. What do I do next? Where am I going to stay? Where is this race? How am I going to pick up my race pack? Where am I going to stay? So it's stitching that all together with them. Plus, in a lot of instances, people like travelling together, and the camaraderie of sharing those experiences together is never more pronounced than it is now.
Okay. Not pronounced enough for you to put your sand shoes on and do some marathon running?
Oh, I don't feel the need.
Strategically inappropriate, I think, is the term.
I've always said that when I do, it'll be in a winery in France. So,
Nice, and that's
I'm
cool.
holding that thought.
That's crushing grapes.
And there are at least two options.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes. So, David, I guess how big is this sport in Australia, and what sort of growth has been going on in it?
I can't put any definite numbers on the participants in Australia, but we had a huge boom in marathon running back in the 1980s.
Thank you, Rodney.
Exactly. And in more recent years, there's what we call now the second boom in marathon running. It's a little bit different to the first one. The first one was more people who took the sport or took athletics as their sport, and they were concentrating on running really good times, etc. Now it's more a recreational component, and there are far more people doing it now. And I think there is, fortunately for the travel side of the business, now there are more people, that recreational component, who have disposable income. They're people maybe in their 40s and 50s and 60s, children have left home, they've got a little bit of disposable income, and they're now interested in going off to lots of these events. And
let me just clarify, these enthusiasts, 40, 50, 60-year-olds, think it's a great idea to run 42 kilometres in a stretch. So that's what you're getting at, isn't it? These recreational.
Yes, they do, and they also it's where they do that. Traditionally, people started out running marathons on the roads, on the city streets in Australia. There's now a lot of, and then they went on to run maybe a London or a New York or a Paris marathon or something. Now people are looking at other adventures. So there's a real boom in adventure running now. We're the race directors of the Great Wall Marathon in China, and that's hugely popular right around the world, with runners coming to run on the steps. 7 kilometres of the marathon is actually on the steps of the Great Wall. So there are plenty of people in their 40s, 50s and 60s who want to get out and
Stop
have an
repeating,
adventure.
it's just making me feel worse. So going forward, you've talked about direct marketing. How long will you keep this going? Is this your ticket to the world, or?
I think we've already got our ticket to the world. We've been travelling extensively for years. Well, it's a long-term thing. I just get so much joy out of travelling. And over the years, I have so many people coming to me and saying, so when you go here, what do you do? Or what would you do if you go here? Or can you tell me, I'm going to Hong Kong and I'm going to China for a few weeks.
So you are the organiser and the courier? Or
yeah. And I just get so much enjoyment out of it. I love it. So in that respect, it's something I want to keep doing.
Will it grow beyond you too? Will you look for another?
It may. We'll see.
It all depends if you want to share it.
That's right, small steps to start with.
Yeah. We don't need to take on the world. We just want to do what we love without it becoming a burden.
Is there anything you wish you knew when you started that you actually know now? This business particularly.
No, I don't think so, because as we said beforehand, I'm an extensive planner, and then do things. So no, I don't think we've had any great epiphanies along the way or anything like that. We knew it would be hard. Working in your own business always is. It takes a lot of planning. You need to do it properly. So no.
And our lifestyle of the last 10 years has really been all of the research and background and training to lead.
So you've been
business.
researching it for 10 years?
Without consciously knowing it, maybe for some of those years. That's right. You're never quite sure when you're in business what direction things are heading, and we had the event management business and still do, but it's now taking a slightly different direction.
Will you do multiple events? Obviously, the Great Wall is that the main one, or is that the only one you're doing, or?
That's the main one that we're doing at the moment. But basically, we consult these days to other events throughout the world. We work on the Virgin London Marathon each year. Both Fran and I are international course measurers, so we do a lot of course measurement throughout the world.
Fantastic. All right. Well, we look forward to not keeping you waiting as long next time as we get together, but maybe in 12 months' time we'll have a chat and find out whether it's gone to plan and what's next.
That would
Thank
be
you.
an excellent retrospective. I look forward to it.
Thank you very much.